The moment heaven stopped to watch you. Chosen one stopped scrolling. What you just did wasn't small. It wasn't random. It wasn't unnoticed. The decision you made, the boundary you held, the pain you walked through without breaking, heaven reacted. Something shifted the moment you chose yourself over fear. Angels don't rush for ordinary moves. But this made them pause. You felt it, didn't you? That strange calm after the storm. That silence that felt heavier than noise. That was the universe recalibrating around you. Because once a chosen one chooses alignment over comfort, nothing stays the same. Why your actions sent shockwaves through the spiritual realm. Chosen ones don't shock heaven by accident. You shock heaven when you pass a test you didn't even know you were taking. A test of patience. A test of restraint. A test of faith when nothing made sense. Most people react. Chosen ones respond with awareness. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't beg for validation. You didn't abandon your values just to survive. That restraint is rare. That restraint is sacred. What it truly means to be a chosen one. Being chosen isn't about feeling special. It's about being burdened with awareness early. You saw through illusions before others were ready. You questioned systems that rewarded silence. You felt called to something you couldn't explain. Chosen ones are born sensitive in a harsh world. Not weak aware. That awareness made life heavier. It made childhood lonely. It made adulthood confusing. But it also made your spirit unbreakable. The awakening that no one warned you about. Spiritual awakening doesn't feel peaceful at first. It feels like loss, like confusion, like isolation. You start seeing people for who they really are, and it hurts. The things you once tolerated begin to drain you. The places you once loved feel empty. The version of you that survived must now die. That death is not punishment. It's preparation. SIGNS, you were always different. You were misunderstood before you were understood. You were called too much when you were actually too real. You felt emotions deeply while others numbed themselves. You noticed energy shifts others ignored. You've always been the one people trauma dumped on. The one who healed others while bleeding quietly. The one who walked alone but never lost direction. That wasn't coincidence. That was training. Why society tries to silence chosen ONES. A healed chosen one is dangerous to broken systems. You don't conform easily. You don't obey blindly. You don't worship false authority. Society benefits when chosen ones doubt themselves. That's why you were discouraged. That's why your light was mocked. That's why your truth was minimized. But suppression only delays destiny. It never cancels it. The breakthrough you feel coming is real. Your breakthrough isn't loud yet. It's subtle, quiet, internal. But once it manifests externally, nothing will stop it. The resistance you faced was proportional to the reward ahead. The delay wasn't denial. It was divine timing. You weren't being ignored, you were being fortified. And now the door is opening. What happens after heaven is shocked. When heaven reacts, alignment follows. People shift. Opportunities appear. Truth is revealed. What was hidden comes into the light. You may notice old obstacles dissolving without effort. You may feel lighter without explanation. You may sense a pull toward purpose again. That's confirmation. You're no longer in preparation, you're in transition. This is your reminder to stay awake. Don't shrink now. Don't doubt now. Don't look back now. The version of you that survived the storm is not meant to return to survival mode. This is the season of embodiment, of authority, of alignment. Stand firm. Your spirit knows exactly where it's going. The message you were meant to hear today. If this message found you, it wasn't by accident. Chosen ones don't stumble into truth, they're guided to it. Your breakthrough isn't coming someday. It's next. And it's earned. If this spoke to your soul, don't ignore it. Like this video to anchor the message. Subscribe to Chosen Wave if you're ready to walk this path consciously. Comment and tell me, what test do you feel you just passed? Why your soul was pushed to the edge? Chosen one, pressure was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. Diamonds aren't formed in comfort. They're formed where escape is impossible. Every moment you thought you couldn't survive was stretching your spiritual capacity. Your soul was being expanded to hold what's coming next. That's why easy paths closed. That's why shortcuts failed. You were being forced into strength. Most people break under this weight. You didn't. You adapted. You evolved. You learned to breathe in chaos. That alone separated you from the crowd. Heaven noticed endurance before it ever releases reward. The invisible war you were fighting. What almost took you out wasn't physical. It was spiritual. Doubt, isolation, mental exhaustion. The kind of battles no one claps for. You smiled while breaking inside. You showed up while questioning everything. You kept going without answers. That's warfare. And warriors aren't celebrated during the fight, only after the victory. What you survived silently is why your next chapter will be loud. Why people turned against you suddenly. Notice how some people changed without explanation. The respect faded. The support disappeared. The energy shifted. That wasn't betrayal, it was exposure. When your frequency rises, misaligned people feel threatened. Not because you attacked them, but because your growth reminds them of where they refuse to evolve. Distance was protection. Silence was divine intervention. You didn't lose anyone important. You were released from distractions. The moment you stopped CHASING, everything shifted. The breakthrough began when you let go. When you stopped explaining yourself. When you stopped proving your worth. When you stopped forcing doors that resisted you. That surrender wasn't weakness. It was mastery. The universe responds fastest to certainty, not desperation. The moment you chose peace over attachment, alignment began chasing you. That's when heaven leaned in closer. Why your pain was never wasted. Every tear trained your intuition. Every disappointment sharpened your discernment. Every delay strengthened your patience. Nothing was random. Chosen ones don't suffer for nothing. They suffer to gain sight. That's why you can now read people instantly. Why you feel energy before words. Why your gut has never failed you. Pain was your initiation. The shift you're feeling in your body and mind. You may feel tired for no clear reason. Detached from old habits. Uninterested in drama. Pulled towards solitude. That's integration. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your spirit is syncing with its next level. Old timelines are collapsing. New ones are forming. Rest is part of the process, not laziness. Your soul is upgrading. Why your breakthrough comes after isolation. Isolation isn't abandonment. It's refinement. Noise fades so clarity can speak. Crowds disappear so purpose can stand alone. Every chosen one is pulled away before elevation. Not everyone can follow you where you're going. That's not arrogance. That's reality. Your next level requires focus, not approval. The power you're just beginning to remember. You didn't gain this power. You remembered it. That calm in chaos. That authority in silence. That presence that shifts rooms without words. You've always had it. Life just stripped away the illusions hiding it. Now you're standing in truth instead of survival. And that truth carries weight. Why you were tested right before relief. The hardest moments always arrive before release. That final stretch where everything feels heavy again. Where doubt tries one last time to take your focus. That wasn't punishment. That was confirmation. The test appears when the lesson is almost complete. Heaven checks stability before expansion. You were being observed in pressure, not comfort. You stayed grounded when chaos knocked. You didn't revert to old habits. You didn't abandon your growth. You chose awareness over impulse. That decision locked something into place. What comes next doesn't require struggle, only alignment. The reason you felt called to walk away. You didn't walk away because you were weak. You walked away because your soul outgrew the environment. Staying would have cost you your integrity. Staying would have dimmed your intuition. Walking away preserved your assignment. Chosen ones don't cling. They listen. And when the inner voice says enough, they obey. That obedience is rare. It's also why protection surrounds you now. Why old doors will never open again. Some doors close forever for a reason. Not because you failed, but because returning would dishonor your growth. You can't fit new awareness into old spaces. You may feel nostalgic at times. That's human. But the pull backward is emotional, not spiritual. Your spirit already moved on. What's ahead requires a version of you that no longer negotiates with fear. The energy shift people can't explain. People may treat you differently now. More cautious, more distant, more curious. Your presence carries clarity, and clarity exposes. You don't need to announce growth. It announces itself. Your silence speaks louder than your past explanations. That's not intimidation. That's authority settling into your nervous system. Why you no longer resonate with surface-level life. Small talk feels exhausting. Drama feels pointless. Crowds feel heavy. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. Your mind seeks depth now. Your heart seeks truth. Your spirit rejects distraction. Chosen ones don't abandon joy, they refine it. Peace becomes the priority, not excitement. The moment you realized you don't need permission. There comes a moment when seeking approval ends. Not out of anger, out of clarity. You realized your calling doesn't require consensus. The need to be understood dissolved. The need to be validated faded. You gave yourself permission to exist fully. That internal shift changed the timeline. Heaven responds when you stop asking and start embodying. Why delay was part of the design. If it came early, it would have broken you. If it came fast, you wouldn't respect it. Delay matured your discernment. Delay taught you patience without bitterness. You learned to trust without proof. To stand without applause. To move without reassurance. That's preparation most people never survive. Which is why most people never receive what you're about to. The stillness before manifestation. Quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Stillness is movement in higher dimensions. Things align silently before they arrive visibly. You may feel suspended between worlds. Not who you were. Not fully who you're becoming. That space is sacred. Creation happens there. Why your spirit refused to give up. There were nights you wanted to disappear. Not die, but rest from being strong. Your body was tired. Your mind was overloaded. Your soul, however, never quit. Something ancient inside you kept whispering, "Not yet." That wasn't hope. That was remembrance. Your spirit knew this story doesn't end in survival. It ends in authority. The invisible protection you walk with. You avoided things you never saw coming. Accidents, betrayals, delays that later made sense. That wasn't luck. Chosen ones move with unseen coverage. When the path collapses behind you, it's because something worse was removed ahead. What didn't work saved you. What failed shielded you. Protection doesn't always feel gentle, but it's precise. Why you were never meant to fit in. Fitting in requires shrinking awareness. Blending in requires silence. Your soul refused both. You questioned traditions without disrespect. You sensed lies without proof. You felt truth before logic caught up. That discomfort you caused wasn't rebellion. It was resonance disrupting false harmony. The moment your identity started shifting, you stopped introducing yourself the same way. Stopped defining yourself by titles. Stopped attaching worth to outcomes. You became presence instead of performance. Being instead of proving. That's when life responded differently. Because the universe negotiates with identity, not effort. Why you had to lose before you could lead. Leadership isn't learned in victory. It's learned in loss. When no one claps. When guidance is internal. When failure humbles without hardening. You learned empathy without weakness. Strength without ego. Direction without domination. That's the kind of leadership heaven trusts. The difference between you and those who gave up. They looked for relief. You looked for truth. They wanted escape. You wanted alignment. When pain came, they numbed. When pain came, you listened. That choice separated timelines. Not everyone who starts the journey finishes it. You stayed conscious. Why your intuition is sharper now. You no longer second-guess the first feeling. You don't need evidence to know. Your body responds before your mind debates. That's not imagination. That's integration. Your experiences trained your nervous system to read reality accurately. That's a gift earned through survival. This is your call to step forward now. Chosen one, if this message shook something inside you, don't ignore it. This is not entertainment, this is activation. You didn't hear this by accident, and you didn't make it this far by chance. Your breakthrough responds to action, not silence. Like this video to seal the shift you're feeling right now. Subscribe to Chosen Wave if you're ready to walk this path consciously and stop doubting your calling. Comment and speak it into existence. What do you feel is about to change in your life after today?